folks, it's a bit of a change-up from the content that has been flooding the channel as of late. This is not a PTR match. No, this is Cyan versus Classic from EPT of Korea 114, and while all the matches leading up to it, honestly kind of terrible. This series, it absolutely delivers. But before we get into it, again, reminder, like, comment, subscribe to this video. It really does help me out quite a bit. And I'm also live. I stream on Twitch every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, EPT North America, every 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays for the Apprentice Cup, and every 10 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays as well for EPT Korea. And also, any apprentice is going to be starting up. That'll be Tuesdays and Thursdays once the season gets going. So make sure to be on the lookout for that one, 7 p.m. Eastern as well. But for now, it's Cyan Classic, EPT Korea 114. And the bottom right in the red, taking Bistork out with the trash. That's not fair to Bistork, but certainly looking damn good against him. He is Classic. In the bottom left in the blue, taking a murderer's row of a run that went through Solar. I think 2-0ing him as well. He is, for Good Game Gaming, Cyan. I think that the amount of content that Wardy puts out makes it too small, Vitrides, in terms of actually going and producing 8 hours of content a day or whatever, 6 hours of content a day, whatever Wardy does. Because he kind of has the European market cornered. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong in this, but you have the 2,000 or so people that consistently watch Rotterdam. And you have the 2,000 or so people that consistently watch Wardy for ladder play versus tournament play. I don't know that if I went, I don't think I could do the same thing with NA. I don't think there is enough depth in North America, a high level depth in North America. I mean, technically, Vitrides, while Beowulf was a Speardane, that was written in Middle English by Saxons. It's not a traditional Viking epic, so, you know. So the trick is, if I was to do that, I think I would have to do like an NA/Korea thing, which would pretty rapidly morph into a Korea thing. And that would be a really awkward hours for North American viewers. I either could do it early in the morning and catch them at night, like do a 6 a.m. start time, 6 a.m. Eastern, which is about 9 p.m. I think Korean, 7 a.m. right now I think, but maybe with daylight savings, I'm not sure. Point being, you have that. I could try to chisel out a path in the European market like Wardy has done, which he kind of has most of the players cornered as this probe does die, or maybe something in between. I don't know. It feels like there's just, with the amount of content he's putting out, I don't know that there is room necessarily. I may be wrong, and someone may pop up and start doing stuff and blow me out of the water, but in all honesty, my goal is not to be a full-time streamer. I think it'd be cool. It'd be cool to be a full-time caster, but my goal is to more occupy the Fear Dragon section of a little bit more involved. Okay, that's not fair. Fear Dragon's very involved in the scene. This is Oracle's gonna fly in, and Cyan already got a Phoenix here. He says, no. You don't get to do that. So, Phoenix will force a recall. Oracle does get out. I'm just gonna try to find some value later on, maybe. Maybe something a little bit more. But, going back to that, my goal is to occupy somewhere close to a Fear Dragon in the scene, where I have a really cool job. Most of the year, I'm a PhD student. I'll have a PhD. And then during tournament season, I get invited out to cast StarCraft. That would be really cool. I think that's the ideal. And then leverage some of my superior income from being a PhD and having a cool engineering job to go and put back money into the scene. Something like that. I don't know. But I don't have that disposable income right now. PhD students don't get paid a lot of money. B-stream casters don't get paid a lot of money. So, you know, that's the end goal. That'd be nice. That's where we are. Anyway, Sepakuli, thank you so much for the follow. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, North America is a more lucrative market from the viewer from the caster perspective. It's not more lucrative market from a from the player's perspective. You just see less because there's no social safety net. It's expensive to not have a much more expensive to not have a job in North America, and there's kind of the expectation that you move out and do something with your life as soon as you're 18 or going off to college, whatever. So you have these kind of 4 years where you're a college student where maybe you can go pro. But in general, you can't really do it. Ah, there we go. There, Vitrades. And thank you for the follow as well. All right, so what's going to happen here? We have Classic right now situating himself for a third base. He does not have it yet. In fact, oh, look at this. He's going to try to take the gold. And his Oracle has evaded the detection of the Phoenix of Cyan for now. So now, Classic is going to get a little bit aggro here. He's sitting on just about the same number of stalkers. His blink is going to finish right around the same time. In fact, just a little bit slower. But look at what he's going to do here. He's going to put a stasis trap on the low ground, maybe luring Cyan in if that's what he wants to go for. But now his blink is done. Or, yeah, it is actually done. So he's going to blink into the high ground. He's going to try to at least knock down a pylon, maybe make something happen here. Stalkers, they're going to spend their... Ooh, this may be a mistake, actually. Cyan, he spends his blink to get on top of the Oracle. But now, theoretically, Classic could outblink him and make something happen. But the lack of reinforcements... Classic will be forced out, but he still trades 2 stalkers. He still gets a pylon. And thank you for the subscription as well. I do appreciate it. So now the question is whether Classic's going to be able to bait his opponent out on the stasis trap. If Cyan is paying attention, he should be able to see it, should be able to respond appropriately, but he's not. There's no guarantee that he sees this, especially if Classic is able to bait him into it. Maybe make an awkward blink and kind of run backwards, but Classic is not really baiting in that direction, so not that big of a deal. The big deal, and this is something that Cyan has scouted, is the fact that Classic has gone and taken his gold as his third base, which means that from a mineral perspective, Classic is going to be very far ahead, and he's going to look to leverage that. His +1 will be delayed, but he's adding 5 gateways. He is only on 4 gas for now. He's adding charge. It's going to go, so he's going to go big into charge lot Archon here, specifically into the charge lots. And I'm not talking about Fear Dragon's market segments so much as where he can go. Because unfortunately, I don't know that RTS Esports has room to support another full-time guy. It'd be so cool. Or I don't know, who knows? Maybe I got some context that I'm working on. But point being, you know, I'm also getting a PhD. I want to be able to do both. As the stalkers here from Cyan are going to find their way onto the third base, denying it for now, but charge is done in about 5 seconds or something like that. It's hard to tell, but charge is done very soon. And while +1 will not exactly be synced up here, this significant mineral advantage that Classic should be able to build for himself, although I guess it's about 100 minerals per minute more. Or we're going to have to see. So right now, Cyan rotating on the bottom side. He's going to go try to do what Classic did to him earlier. And we have some sentries in the mix as well. This is going to get rather interesting. If he can force field things off, yeah, sure, you have 1 recall and you have blink. But it's still a complex decision because once you spend that blink, once you spend that recall, you have a lot less ability. So now there we go. We're going to see the sentries. They're going to go and shield battery, force field off the high ground. And Classic says, to hell with it. Base trade time, folks. This is going to be fun. And we will see +1 complete. So that there is not going to be denied, but that is a big depower. It's a big... That's a fucking massive Artosis pylon. Excuse me, freaking massive Artosis pylon. And already we're going to see Classic in the main base as well, looking to depower things, but the pylons, they're not nearly as Artosises. So for now, we're going to see a recall onto what I assume is the third base. Yeah, it's going to be onto the third. So Cyan is going to get a lot of his probes out, but Classic Force already has a significant number of his probes out to his gold base. So this is going to be a game that is going to be defined by outlying bases, by golds, and by production. Both players, they are supply blocked right now, but Cyan more so for the moment. Look at this. Both players, they're going northbound, going to the 12 o'clock base. It's probe combat. And Classic has less, so he's going to be forced to give that one up for now. No proxy base for now. In fact, probe should kill this one off. But it feels like we're going to have to see who is in the advantage here. Classic has more army. Classic has a warp prism, but so does his opponent. Cyan's up on stalkers. The big story is Classic has 2 Archons. He has a lot of charge lists, which are fairly good against this army, but also they can be kited against. And eventually Cyan can wear things down, can worry things down. And it looks like we may get a true base trade scenario here. Cyan, he's going to take his base on the north side. Wait, actually, wait, are those all the probes from? Okay, no. Classic does have a couple probes with his army just now. And he's going to have to find a way to take a fight here. But he's going to be going up a ramp, and that is always going to be complicated. He's going to have sentries to deal with as well. So, Classic's taking 2 bases, but he's really going to lose all of these probes. And no Nexus will be complete in time, so there's no defensive recall. He cannot get these probes out. Classic's going to go down, I think, down to like 4 or 5 probes. Okay. 14 probes to 33. Cyan is a little bit faster with his Nexus response. Both players massively supply block. They're not going to build anything for a dog's age. The Classic running out on the other side of... Oh, wait, is he going to catch this probe pull? Does he see it? Oh, he catches it at the very last second. He's going to blink on top of it, and that's actually going to tell him where the probes are. He's going to see at least one hidden base, and that will be forced to cancel. And now Cyan's going to lose a lot of his probes in the exchange as well. So, Classic now, arguably, he's in a better position. He's up 6 army supply, give or take. I'm not sure. Oh, that's a problem. Now the army supply lead is not there. He lost an Archon, and I don't know what else he lost. Maybe something else, but okay, the Stalkers are going to be forced to recall. Cyan's going to find this War Prism. He's going to find 3 Stalkers as well. That is going to be a dead War Prism. Army supplies are now equal, but Cyan has much more ability on the map now. He has much more ability to do what he wants to do, is the best way to talk about that. Okay, so now Classic he has the 3rd base that Cyan once had. He's building a literal metric tons of shield batteries. Cyan, though, he technically has supply open, but he does not have production. We will see this Colossus. I think that this is only for vision and maybe to tank some shots. There's not a world where this is a real Colossus. Classic has to know this, but he's going to wait for shield batteries to go down, and with shield batteries and shield battery overcharge, that's not going to really be a thing. So now Cyan, he has supply open. Classic does not. Cyan has no production, though. Neither really does Classic. Although I guess there are 3 gateways, and they're not powered, though. Oh, the hidden... Wait a minute here. Look at this, the hidden probe. This was War Prismed in. A probe behind enemy lines to make sure that the 3 gateways get repowered. This may just win this game. This is so... Cyan with the absolute... I don't know, we can't even call them big brain plays. The gargantuan brain plays here. This is really cool. So Classic's gonna scout out, okay, there's more production on the way, but he has no idea. 3 gateways are up. He has no idea that Cyan can reinforce, and that is a big, big problem. Because Classic kind of feels safe. He says, look, I've taken the gold. I'm 2 bases to 1. I'm kind of in a good spot. But Cyan will eventually be able to reinforce. He will be eventually able to worry out a army supply lead. He will be eventually be able to really leverage this income lead that he has. Some more Stalkers warp in, but Classic, he somehow managed to get Zealots on the other side of the map. I guess just deciding that, okay, Zealots are not incredibly useful right now in these battles over the gold-based scenarios, so he can run them across the map. Stalkers can be recalled back, but now the recall has been used. Classic maybe can make this happen a little bit later, and certainly he forces the army of Cyan back for now. And actually, Classic's got to be kicking himself. So he's going to run in. Zealots just knocking down the last of the stuff in this former main base of Cyan. And he's going to say, oh, wait, those warp gates are repowered. And actually, okay, so he's going to see that there are depths in the main. He's like, okay, there's got to be something. There is warp-in potential for Cyan now, which is a bit of a problem. Even as Cyan is supply blocked, those depths were not there earlier. But look at this. Cyan's going to try to take the fight on the high ground right now. There's an Archon to tank Zealots as well. But we're going to see Cyan try to take the fight, blink backwards, kill Zealots at a time. And because Classic cannot reinforce his gateways, well, he's got one of them. 2 more are on the way. It just means that eventually Cyan's going to take the superior trade. But the Stalkers, they blink forward. They say, to hell with that one. We think we have an opportunity right here, right now, with the Guardian Shield, with these Zealots, with these Archons, just trying to chase Cyan's army back into a more position where he can capture, where he can put it into a corner and then maybe take a damn good fight. But blink and run is the story from Classic as these depths find their way into the natural. Cyan, once again, knocking down the economy of his opponent. While there are tons of shield batteries, none of them are in the mineral line. And finally, at least one of these gateways will be depowered, but two remain. Two do remain. And these are, I think it's safe to say, theoretically, the game winning moves, the game ending gateways from Cyan is now Classic tries to find its way up on the high ground again. This Archon, it's tanking a lot. It's doing a damn good job. As Stalker's blinking on forward. Classic, even though he's down on workers, he's up in economy for now. So once he gets his production up again, he's going to be in a good spot. But the question is whether Cyan has found a way to leverage that income, leverage that production potential to come back into this game. I have no idea who wins this game, folks. Honestly, this is a clown fiesta in the extreme. I'm loving every second of it as this zealot will go down and wasn't all that useful anyways. The Stalkers now blink on forward. Their blink has actually been used, but it should be off cooldown by the time that this engagement does happen, and they're going to be forced back into the high ground once again, which technically means they've got a good shot. But for a moment, Classic, he has a really good concave. The Zealots run on in. Classic has no high ground vision, though, so he cannot really take this fight, but he's starting to leverage the economy. More and more Zealots are warping in. More and more stuff can be made for Classic. And look at what he's doing, by the way. As an Adept gets warped in, dropped into the gold base of Classic, and shutting down some of his economy. The Zealots running on the other side of the map are going to be rather annoying for now. The Stalkers will be able to blink out, but that's going to be a free Adept for now. These Zealots will go down as well. And don't look now, folks. Well, this game's going longer. This game will continue for a while longer because it's great, it's beautiful, it's glorious, it's Clown Fiesta. But Cyan, he's found a really nice position outside of the gold base. He will deny the mining from Classic once again, but you got to remember, Cyan took the natural of Classic. It will start mining out soon. In fact, it already has. Classic took Cyan's third. It's in a much better spot. Some of these mineral patches are starting to run out, but not nearly to the same extent, as there were only 4 good mineral patches. And I mean, there's only, what, 2,000, 2,200 odd minerals left in this base? Not exactly the best, as Adepts are going to look to, Adepts will shade on in. A couple of these probes will go down, forcing a recall from part of Classic's army on the defense. And yeah, the Archon, this shouldn't get too much done. Classic maintains his income lead. Oh, but that's a problem. Part of Classic's army is way out of position here, so the Stalkers are going to look to cut him off in the pass, and there's no recall here anymore. This is actually a big problem, but maybe they can outblink, maybe they can run away. I don't think so. Cyan has a lot here, and a lot of the army supply lead that Classic has been slowly but surely building because of this army, because of this economy, it's all gone. Cyan has a 3 supply advantage, and he does have a lot of sentries, which may be somewhat useful, as we will see Archons and Classic once again. They're going to get hallucinated. Classic knows what's happening, so he's going to run away for the moment. Stalkers more getting warped on in now, and this looks like it may be the fight that Cyan is going to look to try to take to end this game. Hallucination's actually doing a great job soaking the damage. The question now is who has better blink. Is the Archon? It's actually kind of cut behind things, and Cyan, it looks like maybe, just maybe, hits the better concave here. He's starting to take a better fight. The force fields forcing Classic back, and Classic now, he has to give up the high ground. Now Cyan, he punches through with a 7 army supply lead. Some of those, of course, in the sentries. Is Classic now going to blink onto the low ground, knocking down some of these Stalkers that are going to try to do something. And then army supply lead is lesser once again. Classic, he's going to be able to warp in more units, building more probes, building more sustain in this game. So it looked like it was a good fight for Cyan. It absolutely did, and it was. Make no mistake about it. Classic has lost 2,000 resources more, but he has also mined so much more over the course of this game. And this Warp Prism, I think it's finally going to get caught. I think Classic, he may just opt to blink on top. Oh, he's pulling the probes. He says, I don't think you have enough here. So, oh, the Stalkers, they're going to find high ground, which means Classic cannot really do too much. And he should just pull the probes back into mining. Yeah, there we go. But now, let's see. So, Stalkers, they're going to put themselves on the high ground. Classic maintaining the concave, which means it's very hard for Cyan to run low. But also, Classic can't really move high ground all that easily, but now he's going to find a concave here. Moving forward, the Stalkers, they're going to find the Warp Prism. I think, no, they say it's not worth it. The supplies are too even. I cannot risk that just yet. Some more and more Stalkers getting warped in. Classic really starting to build a supply lead now. He's trying to find that game-ending fight, but it's so hard to end the game. Blink Stalker versus Blink Stalker. You can always just kind of run away. As we see some of the sentries on the north side go down here. Cyan desperately blinking for his life, but I think finally Classic's done it. It's a 20-minute game, number 1, that has had players base trade and base trade and base trade. But at the end of things, money matters more than anything else. Classic, he takes game 1. in the bottom left. In the red, he's up 1-0 off of a prolonged and beautiful base trade. His name for AlphaX is Classic. In the upper right, in the blue, he's down 1, but oh man, he had so many chances to take that game. Both players really did. Game 1. Oh man, incredible. And now he's down 1 game in this series. For good game jamming, it is Cyan. Oh, hey, Peely Peely. Thank you so much for the raid. Glad you're here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope your stream was most excellent. You're tuning in for a banger of a PvP Grand Finals. Straight up. I was kind of worried that this was going to be a 3-0 in favor of a Classic, and it may still be. But, I mean, game 1, 20 minutes. Make sure to go check it out when I upload it to my YouTube in 4K, because that's something that I can do. Make sure to go check that game out, or go look at my VOD. I don't care. It's a 20-minute base trade. Base traded from like 8 to 10 minutes onwards, something like that. It is really an excellent game. Make sure to go take a look. And hey, Darkness, thanks so much for the follow. Glad you're here for this most excellent PvP Grand Finals. It feels like that's what we're getting in pretty much every tournament these days, but if we get stuff like that, I am A-okay with it. We're going to have to see what the players are going for in Game 2. Classic 2-gate expand into a Stargate. Cyan 2-gate expand into something else. Not a Stargate. Not yet. So, Natural is on the way. Cyan will get that faster. Oh, wait a minute. The probe's not in position. Adepts get in the main base. This is a big problem. There was a Sentry as well. It could have force fielded it, and it will be able to force field off the mineral line, but already we're seeing, I want to say 3 workers have gone down. Oh, and this actually just manned the game. We may not see Cyan GG out of the game, and he does have Stalkers and damage now, but oh, the Adepts, they get out. The Adepts get out too. 7 probes go down. The Adepts, at least one of them gets out, and Adept back in the main base once again. Stalker Sentry is here, so the Adept most likely not. Oh, okay, will complete the shade. It is rather low, and it's not going to get the shots it's looking for. But still, 7 workers go down. Classic with a significant 3-worker advantage in a game where he took a much later Nexus. This is not an eco-focused opening from Classic. I mean, you have a desire, but this is a tempo and damage focus opening. You run in with an Oracle, you run in with Adepts, you try to find value. 7 workers always massive, especially the Oracle's going to get like 1 to 2 more as the Adepts shade in right now as well, and it's going to be another 2 probes. Yeah, it's going to be 2 probes, I think. So we're down to 10. 10 workers lost for Cyan in this game as the Oracle continues to stay alive. Cyan desperate to make sure that this goes down, but he will not be successful in doing so. Now a second Oracle out on the map. The Nexus for Cyan is done, but there's no mining here because there are no probes. He's down 5, and he's going to get a free. He's down 6 now, as that probe will go down. And Cyan, well, he's in a bit of a problem. He's in a bit of a struggle in this game number 2. Game 1, he looked damn good, and he looked like he had absolutely multiple opportunities to win the game. But Classic said, I'm angry. I don't want to play another 20-minute game. Let me cut you off at the knees. Cut you off at the pass. Go from there. Also, I don't think I said this, but hello there, Tekuan SC2. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here, as I am with everyone else coming in from Peely Peely's stream. Okay, so for now, Classic, notice what he's doing here. Yeah, he's just gonna okay, he stays at the probe. It's not like there's a third base coming down anytime soon. The worker count is just too damn low. But one Oracle will go down, and that is something. Now you no longer have burst potential against shield batteries probed. shield batteried probes. Of course, there is no shield battery. Cyan cannot afford it. He says, I'm going to survive with my... Well, I'm going to survive with my stalkers for now. I'm going to try to make something happen. As we do have a Dark Shrine on the way, but there is, of course, a Rebel Bay on the way first. Classic will not lose like he did to Mio Micah. He has learned his lesson. He says, I don't really want to go for these builds that are quite as greedy. But he also has aggressive potential on the map. The gateway warping in. Blink just about done. Classic, he's not going to waste time and says, well, I'm not going to waste time. Let us go third base. Give you an opportunity to come back. No. He's going to leverage this advantage into an immediate army supply advantage, into an immediate leveraging, hopefully, of the blink timing. And just kill Cyan right here, right now. But there's a third base on the way for Classic. He does have room. He does have the ability to extend his game later. He does have the ability to go and make to develop his tech and go into a third base if that is what necessary. But there are a lot of stalkers warping in. Robo is done. Observer is going to be the first thing made. So Classic is not going to fall to the absolute hubris of not having detection, losing to Dark Templar. That is always going to be very nice. And he's already found one pylon on the map. The second one, well, he's not going to find that one, at least not for a moment. But because the Oracle actually seems to be struggling to run around and give high ground vision, that does mean that Classic's not going to blink in the main. It does mean that he's going to be forced back and just have to sit on his third base. Okay. Not the end of the world. The damage that he has done, he's in a wonderful position. And now the Dark Templar get warped in. Where is our detection? That's the big question. Yeah, the DTs, they should be scattered out fairly quickly. In fact, it looks like Classic is aware of this already. And he will lose a sentry, which is something. And he's going to lose a couple probes. A nice body block here for the Stalkers. Now the DTs, they're dead. A nice blink from Classic as well, so make sure he doesn't lose more than necessary. And now with third base underway, the gateway has been found out from Cyan, and that is something, but that was 2 probes in a century for 3 DTs. Absolutely not worth it as the depths find their way into the natural. More and more value getting found by Classic, although not the best target fire on that one, so he could have gotten more, but he will not. And now it's time for aggression. Cyan, he's going to try to get this third base, but I don't really see it. Stasis Trap is going to go down. Does Cyan have the deeps? He does, but not before the Stasis Trap does complete, so that is pretty much half a mining base right there. A couple Stalkers forced out as well. Classic is +1 on the way, but Cyan, he's not there, and he's supply blocked. Game 1, again, it looked good, it looked close. Game 2? Less so. But really, you got to remember, as good as Classic looks, as dominant on the map that he looks, this is a game where Classic killed 7 workers from 2 adepts early. This is a game where Classic did game-ending damage before the game even got started. So we can't really judge Cyan for being behind. And in fact, he's done a pretty good job of building an army and rebuilding his economy and making stuff happen. Of course, he cut corners. He does not have +1 on the way. I don't believe he has a Robo. No, he does not. So he's not going to have a War Prism. He's not going to have an Immortal, things like that. And his third base was much later. But at least for now, he has an army that at least can fight. It's not going to be able to fight for too much longer, but for now, at least, he can exert some pressure on the map. He can maybe hope to take a fight and maybe hope that his micro is going to be better than Classic's. But shield batteries are here as well. Guardian Shield gets propped. And with the Immortals popping out here with +1 on the way, it's going to be a very difficult fight for Cyan to take to try to make sure that he can punch through the Korean player, but he's going to try to make it happen right here, right now. Sentries are starting to fall, but Immortal is just lending his damage to the cause. Shield battery overcharge popped as well. Classic, he blinks forward, and that may not have been the most optimal move, but we're starting to see the supply gap increase. We're starting to see Classic really pull ahead in this game. And that's what's really important. So, Immortal, again, its Hardened Shield does get popped, takes some damage, but Immortal's 2-shot Stalker, so as long as it's alive, as long as it's fighting, it's a big, big problem for Cyan. And you also got to remember, Classic has +1. Classic has a bigger army supply by a significant measure right now, and he actually has charge on these Zealots. So, any prolonged fight is a fight that does favor Cyan. As Zealots run across the map from Classic as well. Stalkers, they're rallying home, but Cyan, he's giving it his best shot, but his best shot, unfortunately, is not quite enough in this game. Classic, he's up 2-0. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for that announcement. PTR tournament as well. But now here we are. It is game 3. Classic, he's up 2-0. And in the upper right, in the red, his name. Well, we already heard it for AlphaX. Classic. In the bottom left, in the blue, he's down 2. He looked good in game 1. Game 2, unfortunately, he died to 2 adepts. It happens. For Good Game Gaming, Cyan. Okay, so we're on Hardwire. This means that this is certainly a map where you can go 1 gate expand. MaxPex does this, but also players that aren't MaxPex doesn't. Which means that it is viable. MaxPex does it whenever he wants, which is every single game, which should surprise no one. But if you see Korean players, or I guess Chinese players doing it because Cyan is going for it in this game, it does make it a little bit more viable. Because, of course, while this does not have a ramp, it is a rather short natural choke, and it's a long map. You can kind of get away with it. The question now is whether Cyan or whether Classic opts to go aggressive on the exchange. But he's just going for 1 gate expand as well. This one, it's on the high ground. It's a more flexible 1 gate expand. Stargates for both players. And we may see a Phoenix game here. Phoenix games on Hardwire are actually fairly interesting because the rush distance is long enough that it takes a while for players to kind of figure it out. There's a lot of room on the map so you can try to outmaneuver your opponent. And again, because it is so long, the random ground units that you get early can't do much. Sometimes, again, very rarely, but you'll see on Curious Minds, the Stalker sent Stalker Zealot something, run across the map and try to deny a third base. It's just a little bit easier to establish map vision and own the map. But Cyan is not making that happen. This is a fake Nexus. Instead, he is absolutely all-inning his opponent. The second gateway is on the way, Void Rays as well. And he's doing this interesting proxy Void, but not a proxy build that we do see players do occasionally. I think Zest was the first player I saw do it. And we're going to have to see how well Classic can respond. He got an Oracle on the way, but that's a big problem. That being said, he took a great trade here, and he will be able to at least get a lot of damage done on this Stalker, if not kill it off. But we're going to see a lot of shield batteries coming on down from Cyan in this game. And this is looking fairly good for Classic, or excuse me, for Cyan already. It looks like he should lose. Oh, no, he's going to win the Stalker trade. Well done there from Classic, because he's got 1 additional Stalker. Shield batteries are starting to finish up now for both players, which means that these Stalkers are not really going to die, but more importantly, Classic Stalker, that's not nearly as effective. It is 2 to 1. Oracle of Classic does run on the other side of the map, and that is one of the benefits of him being able to build his Void Rays in base. He can kind of get away with getting an Oracle out and still sending an or still having some defensive ability. So now it is 3 Stalkers, it is a Void Ray, and there's a lot more shield batteries here than it is for Cyan. But on the other side of the map, what type of damage is happening? Oracle is just killing everything, actually. It is 14 workers here for Cyan, so as long as Classic is able to hold, he will be in a damn fine spot. I think we just see him give up the natural. Yeah, we got to treat the natural as quote-unquote an idiot magnet right now. It is something that Cyan may choose to focus on, but it's not something he wants to focus on. It is really all about the high ground here because Cyan's on 16 workers. Now, he does have the money right now to make sure that he goes and he gets probes out. He can start to rebuild his economy just a little bit. And I believe the Oracle is dead. No, the Oracle's still alive. Where is it? Just sitting out for right now. It's maybe going to try to find some value later, but it is 2 Void Rays to 1. Despite the fact that Cyan technically has his Void Rays faster, they're not closer. So we will have roughly paired up Void Ray counts. In fact, Cyan not really building a Void Ray right now. He kind of understands that, well, he needs money more than anything else. We're going to start to see the shield batteries go down. Shield battery overcharge is going to get popped. And we will see, though, Classic, he loses 1 Void Ray, which may just spell the end of things, but it is 4 Stalkers 3. Second Void Ray does arrive, and the Nexus will finally fall. But Classic doing a great job of taking advantage of shield battery overcharge while he can. It looks like the Oracle is now dead. Yes, the Oracle is dead. Okay. Renovated, yes, they have. Renovated Fall, yes, they have announced the casters for the Caster Civil War. I'm not among them. I did reach out to Wardy and say, hey, if you want production, I'm more than willing to do that, but I am not on the roster. That is Rotterdam, Wardy, Zombie Grub, Fear Dragon, Nathanius, Cats, and a Muslim, I think. I don't know if that's 8 people, but it is 8 people. It is 8 casters, 8 teams. I wish they would add Steadfast 9, but that's fine. This has been in the works for a lot longer. And realistically, I don't average that many viewers. So maybe you hire me to an event, but if you're doing stuff that, well, leverages on fandom, you don't really want me. Not yet. As a Stalker, now we're going to look to run on forward. That will be a dead Stalker, at the very least. So Classic right. Oh, he's going to get 1 point. Oh, that was a big mistake there. Cyan looks to run forward, and this just did GG Classic. It works out for him. Doing the eco damage early is more than enough. Classic is your champion of ESL ESL Open Cup. There we go, number 114, the Korean edition.